Well, everybody can see before me that Mark Rogers is our next presenter. I had to I had to resist my tendency to be rude about people I know more. What we need to know about Mark, changing my position, deciding not to be rude, is that he also is a lover of the wilderness. You can see it in the fact that he collects Antarctica, and he has visited a number of such places when he was in the Royal Navy. So without any more ado, over to Mark Rogers.
Thank you very much, Mike. I just want to say thank you to you, IMCoS, and Tom as well for inviting me onto the show and tell tonight. And I'm in awe of all the experts and authors out there in front of us. I'm by no means an expert. I'm more of a collector, but I'm on a steep, long learning curve. Okay, next slide, please, Tom. So the agenda is a short biography of myself. I'll try not to dwell on that. And then I've got very kindly two items I'd like to talk about. A paperweight globe by globe maker J. Forrest, circa 1910. And item 2 is a map of Deception Island by Lieutenant Edward Nicholas Kendall, Royal Navy, circa 1829. So I started my career then in the British Royal Navy as a weapons engineer around about 1984. I'm now a manager for London Underground, working in electrical power distribution, and I've been working in the industry for about 37 years. My love of map collecting started over 23 years ago with a trip to the Carson Clark Gallery with my wife in Edinburgh in Scotland. And after about 3 hours, a big pile of maps appeared under my arm, and I've never looked back. In the last 12 months, I've also started collecting globes and cartographic reference books and material. I've been a member of IMCoS for about 15 years. I'm currently the photographer for IMCoS events, and my collecting area of interest is Antarctica and the Southern Hemisphere. So my first item, a paperweight globe by globe maker J. Forrest. J. Forrest flourished between 1890 and 1929 approximately. J. Forrest made a large variety of globes in the 19th and 20th century, largely for school use, but also for home use. Not a lot of information is known about this globe maker, at least not that I can find. Their prolific output included table globes, some on ebonized turn stands, floor globes and novelty globes, including terrestrial globes on geared turntable stands, and globe form cigarette lighters and paperweight globes like the one you see here. Forrest globes were mainly labelled in French, with some for export in English or Spanish. My paperweight globe is the French revision. Next slide, please. In the second quarter of the 20th century, J. Forrest was succeeded by the geographical publishing firm Girard and Barrère, which continued to offer globes Forrest at the same Rue de Buchy address in Paris that Forrest used. During the early and mid-20th century, the firm also produced globes and geographical publications as Girard, Barrère et Thomas. This may have been a merger or partnership with the 19th century Paris globe maker, G. Thomas. Next slide, please. This novelty globe is 10 inches in diameter, is tactile, and will comfortably fit into the palm of your hand. The globe weighs approximately 0.45 kilograms and is balanced so as to always rotate into an upright position. The globe is weighted with lead and embellished with an ornate silver shaft. The surface is covered with a wooden shroud upon which the map gauze were applied. The surface was then glazed with several layers of varnish to protect the gauze from wear. It's fairly easy to date globes by geographical events that have happened throughout time, and I believe this globe to have been made in approximately 1910. My second item is a map of Deception Island, 1829. Next slide, please. This map was drawn by Lieutenant Edward Nicholas Kendall, Royal Navy, 1829. Edward Nicholas Kendall, known affectionately as Ned to his shipmates and friends, was an English hydrographer, Royal Naval officer and polar explorer. In 1829, the British naval expedition to the South Atlantic made a scientific survey of the island, and Lieutenant Kendall of HMS Chanticleer, under the command of Captain Henry Foster, made the first map, which is the first accurately surveyed map of any part of the Antarctic continent or islands. Deception Island remains an important base for scientific research. Kendall's map remains an unusual 19th century map of Antarctica. And on the right here, you can see the ship that he was on, Her Majesty's sloop Chanticleer, seen here off of Valletta in Malta. It's a Cherokee class 10-gun brig. A brig is a two-masted ship, square-rigged, of the British Royal Navy. Next slide, please. The map formed part of Lieutenant Kendall's private journal and was originally published in the Royal Geographic Society, Volume 1 in 1832 by publisher John Murray. The map is approximately 183 by 125 millimeters in size and is uncoloured. Deception Island is a 14-kilometre wide crescent-shaped island in the New South Shetland Islands, close to the Antarctic Peninsula, at approximately 63 degrees latitude, just above the Antarctic Circle. It is one of the most well-known active volcanoes of the Antarctic region and is located on the axis of the Bransfield Strait Basin, a well-known area of active volcanic rift. Moving from left to right, rotating clockwise, we can see that the island has wildlife, including Cape pigeons, storm petrels, Dominican gulls, sea skuas, penguins, and seals frequent the island. In the centre, there is a harbour called Port Foster. And we can also see to the right in Pendulum Cove, which is a magnetic scientific observatory. Mount Pond is the tallest part of the island at 539 metres. And the centre consists of a fumarole, which is an opening at the Earth's crust that emits superheated gases from the shallow magma fissure below, creating a thermal spring above. Whalers Bay can be seen to the bottom right-hand corner of the map. And unusually, there is an entrance to this caldera harbour. And this caldera entrance is commonly known as Neptune's Bellows. Next slide, please. Zooming into the bottom half of the map, we can see the map has been drawn by Lieutenant Ian Kendall, 1829. Below are the coordinates of the observatory within the island. The island is approximately 8,724 miles from the UK. So you can appreciate that once these drawings were made, the ship then had to get all the way home before engravings could be made and publications could be made. There's a humble compass rose to the right and a humble scale as well, you can see underneath the observatory coordinates. We can see that this was engraved by J&C Walker and published by John Murray in 1832, as previously mentioned. Next slide, please. For anyone who doesn't know, Deception Island forms part of a cluster in the Antarctic Peninsula known as the South Shetland Island Cluster. Deception Island there is coloured in red. The islands were first sighted in the 16th century and early 17th century by Dutch and Spanish mariners. But Deception Island was formally discovered by a British mariner, Captain William Smith, in 1819, and also by fishing sealers in 1820. The area of the cluster is approximately 1,424 square miles. Next slide, please. The island surrounds a caldera of an active volcano. There was activity in 87, 2 years before I visited the island, with the British Royal Navy in 1989 aboard HMS Endurance, pennant number A171. At the centre of the island is a 7-kilometre caldera or large cauldron-like hollow, which was formed shortly after the volcanic eruption, emptying its magma chamber, and it's at its epicentre. Seawater then entered the caldera and formed a harbour. Ships can enter the centre of the caldera via a small gap in the southeastern corner of this drawing here, or map here, should I say. And it has been known for people to swim in these fumarole waters as the heat from the still active volcano below warms the void above, but only to about 2 degrees centigrade or 35 degrees Fahrenheit. The island previously held a whaling station, but is now a tourist destination and scientific outpost with Argentine and Spanish research bases within. Various countries have asserted sovereignty over the island, but it remains under the administration of the Antarctic Treaty System. Next slide, please. Okay, that ends my my short presentation. I hope you've enjoyed it, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Thank you,
Right.
Mark.
And I was about to give you a verbal ding because the dinger is not compliant. So from now on, I will go ding if somebody is at their 9-minute point. We have a question though for you, Mark. You don't get off that easily. Firstly, is it a compass rose, a true rose, or is it a compass?
I can't answer that, to be honest. I'm not qualified enough yet, Mike. But
does it look like a rose?
Well, no, it doesn't. And funny enough, that question came up when I was putting this presentation together because I wasn't entirely sure. You see compass roses, like if I call it that, you know, all the time, but some are more elaborate than others, and the correct terminology of them, I'm still learning, to be honest, Mike.
Okay. Next question. Where did you get the name Deception? Be quick.
That I don't know either, I'm afraid.
Okay.
I'm not
So
very
you
good
won't know if Argentina has a different name for it.
Well, most
it's
probably.
Not my question. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Mark.
Well, no, I mean, that area of the world is contentious anyway, as we know. Yeah. And you know, it's well documented that some countries feel as though they discovered these lands before perhaps we did. But
well, this is the point at which I need to tell. I've been dying to say this, but not too far away in the South Atlantic, doing a different expedition, each midshipman who spotted a new island was allowed to name it after themselves, and so that's where you will find Sweeting Island.
Ah, brilliant!
Because one of my ancestors was midshipman of the day.
I shall look that up.
Please, yeah, you can tell me more than I'm fibbing about it.
Thank you.